Tonight we are going to make sushi rolls with our new sushi roll maker. And you guys, I'm so excited to do this. Now you need to know I have not practiced ahead of time. So we'll see how this works together. But the instructions are pretty simple and I'm super excited to give it a try. And so I hope you will bear with me as I get things pulled together here. Like together, literally, with you. So I have some rice going in the multi-cooker behind me. If you have a rice cooker, this is a really great way to make it for this because you actually want your rice to be warm as you're using it. If you have the microwave rice cooker, that is also a really good way to make your rice for sushi because, again, you want it to be warm. So this literally just finished. So I'm going to cancel it and let out the steam. Oop, there it goes. And get the rest of our ingredients ready. So we're going to make a traditional California roll tonight. If you're familiar with California roll, it's usually veggies and crab meat. And so that's what we're going to do. This is actually my favorite thing to buy at Wegmans when I get sushi, which is my favorite sushi in the area. No surprise there, right? Because you know how much I love Wegmans. And it's also because it's really inexpensive, but it's even cheaper or less expensive, should I say, when you make it yourself. So what we want to do is we want to slice our cucumber into really thin slivers, into what would be called julienne slivers. And so I'm going to use the Rapid Prep because it's built right in here how to do this. The dials even tell you where to set them for those thin slices, and it's going to just make real quick work of this. But you can also, of course, just do it with a knife if you don't have this slick thing in your kitchen. But it does a lot of other things. This is hey, I think we'll make French fries for dinner tonight. Okay, and 5 minutes later, they're ready to go in the oven. So that's what I really love it for. So we want to cut the cucumber so it's going to fit in sideways like so, and I didn't quite get it there because, of course, I didn't have it in front of me. There we go. So we want it to fit flush against the blade so that we get those julienne strips. And then we're just going to put this in, and we're going to release our blade here. And how quick is that? So there they are, ready to go. So set that off to the side. And I'm just making one roll to show you tonight, partly because it's just me. And secondly, because I can't really eat the sushi right now. I can have a bite, but I can't really eat a whole meal of it because I have to really seriously get back on my high protein, low carb thing for some health reasons. And Ken's working late. So he will be enjoying the rest of it when I get home, but you're going to get to see just really the basics of how to do this. So we've got our cucumber ready to go. We're going to do the same with the avocado, only we're not going to use the Rapid Prep on the avocado. And I am going to get a smaller knife so I don't freak anybody else out. Maybe. Yes, I am. Okay. So when I cut an avocado, if you've not seen me do this before, I like to cut it in half, and then you can take the pit out just by kind of whacking on it with your knife, and it'll pop right out. That's a good sign. It's a good sign that your avocado is nice and ripe. And then I just cut it in quarters again, or in halves again, so that it's in quarters, and then take the peel off. I find this is the easiest way to get all of your avocado. And here in upstate New York, where avocados are really expensive, I have a funny story about that. I'm going to tell you here in a minute. I like to get every last bit of that avocado. So many of you know I was just in Uganda visiting our daughter, and got to get a clean towel here. So I was just in Uganda visiting Hannah, and in Uganda, avocados grow everywhere, and they are dirt cheap. They are considered to be seriously one of the cheapest things you can buy and eat. And because they have so many great qualities to them, that's what people do, especially the expats like my daughter, especially because they know how expensive they are in the States. So one of Hannah's friends, I'll tell you the story while I'm slicing this really thin. One of Hannah's friends, unfortunately, posted on her Facebook page, this was a year or two ago, posted how she had made guacamole or something for lunch. And she's from Minnesota, so you can imagine avocados are not inexpensive. They're actually very expensive in Minnesota. And one of her supporters emailed her and said, um, I can't support you anymore because I can't afford to buy avocados. And so if you can, clearly you don't need my support. And this poor girl is like, you don't understand. In Uganda, avocados are dirt cheap. I mean, they fall off the trees and go to waste. So they're sort of like, I'm trying to think of something here in the States that would be the equivalent. I think of apples, but just something that just grows everywhere. And they're very, very inexpensive, especially at your local market, which is not a Wegmans. It's somebody's stand on the side of the road. So anyway, that's my avocado story. So we've got some avocado ready here. We're going to get some crab meat ready. And I haven't bought this in forever. So I'm kind of excited about this. So it's not real crab meat. It's that imitation crab that I think is actually whitefish, and then they flavor it. But it works. It does the job. It is what you're eating when you get most sushi. Very little sushi out there is using real crab meat, and it is ready to eat. It's already cooked, ready to go. So, whoops, didn't want to do that. So we're just going to take one of these pieces, and I'm going to get my big knife back over here because we're going to cut it into little slices. Okay, and actually, you know what? I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do it the other way. Guess that'll be my snack later. So I actually meant to cut it this way into strips, and you'll see why in a minute. Okay, I'm going to do a second one just so I'm sure I have enough. So that is our prep. And again, this would be such a fun activity with kids, honestly, and an easy one to have everything ready in your prep containers in the fridge, ready to go. And then you just take everything out and let everybody make their own sushi. And when you see how easy this is, you're going to understand why I'm like, wow, yeah, you could literally just do this with your kids. So we're going to get our rice ready. And what we want in here is we want 1 cup of the cooked short grain rice. So this recipe calls for short grain, and I'm going to tell you why here in just a minute. All right, so it calls for a short grain rice. And why is that? I'm going to put it in my bowl here and then tell you why. So I need it to cool off just a little bit. Whoops, let's try doing that. Right words. So this is actually a very sticky rice, and that's what you need for your sushi. So a short grain rice, it actually says medium grain, but it said the same thing as the expensive sushi rice. So I just bought Wegmans medium. This was 99 cents as opposed to $5. So it's a very short grain. I don't know if you can see it on my hand. Let me show you typical rice I would make if I'm just making rice with dinner. I don't know if you can tell the difference here in my hand, but the brown ones are your long grain rice, and these little short ones are your short grain. And the difference has to do with how sticky it is and how starchy the rice is going to be. And for sushi, you want it to be starchy. So we are going to add a few things here. We're going to add a tablespoon of rice vinegar. I was so sure I had rice vinegar in the house because I always have rice vinegar in the house, but I didn't double check. And it turns out we don't have any rice vinegar. So don't panic and run to the store. Just use, if you have white vinegar, that'll do. If you don't have that, just use regular. So ideally you want rice vinegar. It has a different flavor that's really quite yummy. But if you don't, then just use your white vinegar or cider vinegar if that's all you have on hand. Do not make an extra trip to the store. We are also going to add a tablespoon of sugar, and if I had been planning, I would have added that first. Now that I got that all wet, so 2 half tablespoons here. And again, you really need that in there because it's going to affect how sticky the rice is. And because we're making sushi, we need it to be sticky. And then it calls for a 1/4 cup of salt. So I'm using my new salt shaker because I just think they're so cool. And I'm going to suggest, if there is an upgrade on this one, they do make it where you can tell how long to press it to get a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So I'm eyeballing it there. But I love using them. They're just fun to use. And we've got everything in here. And now we're just going to take our scraper here and mix it all together. So with a little bit of a little bit of sugar, a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of salt, and let me start that over. A little bit of vinegar, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and a cup of rice. All right. I just realized I'd read this earlier and then I've already forgotten what it said. So this actually is in our current season's best and has all the instructions right in here. All right. So we have pretty much everything ready except for our sushi roll maker, which is called the Easy Roll Maker, because you can do more than just fishy sushi. In fact, last Tuesday night or this past Tuesday, it might have been 2 days ago, on the home office live cooking, they did frushi, Frushi, which is sushi with fruit, which I need to try that. I think that sounds really, really fun. I just have to get past all the carbs in the rice, and I haven't gotten there yet. So we are going to brush this with just a little bit of oil. So, I use the very low grade olive oil here. So we're just brushing the inside of this container. And we also need to brush this little guy because it's going to be used to push down our rice. And then we're going to take this rice and we are going to use that plunger to press it into the cavern here. So my understanding is that 1 cup of rice will make 1 roll of sushi. I made 3 cups of rice in the rice cooker, so that will make me 3 rolls in the end. And I can either do it all tonight or I can put it in the fridge and finish it tomorrow. You get to decide. But you do want that rice to still be warm, not hot, but warm, because you want it to absorb the sugar. You're mixing in you want that sugar to, what's the word I want? Liquidate the sugar. And if it's cold, it won't do that very well. It's also easier to work with when it's warm. So it's not hot, but it is definitely warm. And that was another reason I chose to do it in the quick cooker, the multi-cooker, because it keeps it warm for up to 90 minutes. I don't know if you know that. Whatever you're doing in the multi-cooker, it will keep it warm for up to 90 minutes. So I knew that, if it got done before I was ready, it would be good for 90 minutes. All right, and then we're going to literally take this, maybe this way, and press it in here to make like caverns. There we go. Or like a hollow to put the food in, okay? And so I'm learning as I'm doing that we want to have you'll see what this is for in a minute, but there's like a screw and where it goes, and you want to have it in that direction. Okay, now we're going to do the fun part, which is literally layering our things. And we have this fun new tool. It's a little food grabber. I don't know if you can see that, right? Now, I'm probably going to use my hands, friends, because it's just for me. But it's certainly if you're working with kids, letting them each have their own little food grabber. And this thing is awesome for serving hors d'oeuvres. It's really great because you can see how I can just grab right here, grabbing the cucumbers, and it goes pretty big, but but it also goes very, very small. So this is a new thing, and it's kind of fun to just sit here and play with it, honestly. Okay, so I am got that in there. I feel like I could get a little more crab in here. And I'm going to put my avocado on this side. And I probably could have just cut this in long strips. I didn't, but I bet I could have. Okay, so I just kind of have chunks of avocado laying down on this side. Okay. And now it's time to put it all together. I mean, how fast was that? That was crazy fast. All right, so you do the quick flip. I'm not sure it matters which way you go. I'm going to do this over here because this has less. So we're just going to, whoops. We're going to flip it. Oh, and then it locks into place. Okay. And then there's forgot to put the thing in. I forgot to add the plunger first. So let's try this again. Oh, I don't know if I can now. Yes, I can. Okay. We need to have that plunger in place. And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to screw this on the end. It just kind of snaps on. You don't really screw it. Excuse me for an itchy nose all of a sudden. All right, so this just kind of snaps on the end. And then we twist this. And you don't want to press it hard. You just want to press it until it is like firm. Okay? So it's not a long, and it's certainly not a shove. It's just a press it till it's firm. So we're kind of there. And then we wrap it in the seaweed. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a step you can skip if you're not a fan of these seaweed sleeves. Or you could also use rice paper. And we had rice paper, and I was going to bring it up to do it, and then I forgot. So excuse me while I do this with a different knife. Since my scissors are somewhere across the room. There we go. So again, if this is kind of not your thing, no worries. You can simply skip it. Okay. We're going to take this out and lay it on this nori paper. Okay. This is the part I'm actually really nervous about. So we're just going to take it out. I think I need to squish it just a little bit more. Try this. Live on camera. I have a feeling that moment when I opened it to put this back in, I may have botched the seal a little bit. But it's still working okay. We are going to flip this out onto the paper. So excuse me while I do this backwards, but as soon as you see what I'm doing. Okay, so it is on here. And now I'll turn it around so you can see. We simply take our nori paper and roll it up. So apparently you also want the rice to be a little warm so that the nori paper softens and sticks to it. Look how cool that is. Oh my gosh, I did it. You take a little bit of water and run it along the edge here to seal it. There it is, all sealed up. I managed to get a little piece of rice in there, so it's got a little bump, but All right. So we seal the edge with a little bit of water. Little rice guy, get out of there because you're messing up my beautiful seam. Let it sit for another minute or two to soften that nori paper. I've already got stuff coming out the end. But isn't that the same? That's the same as it is at the store. And then we're just going to get a clean cutting mat here, cutting board, and we will slice this up. So it does say to let it sit a few minutes. So it doesn't say how long, but I'm going to give it a little extra time and I'm going to rinse this off. And while let that sit for a minute, I'm going to talk to you about a few other things. So soy sauce is the traditional thing to serve sushi with. If you are avoiding soy and you haven't discovered the magic of coconut aminos, it's like magic, tastes the same, no soy. So this is what I prefer to use. So toasted sesame oil is also a really yummy option. My favorite part of sushi is the wasabi. So you can buy this in a tube at most grocery stores. And then my other favorite part of sushi is the pickled ginger, which again, I was so sure we had it in the fridge. I didn't even bother to double check. While I was overseas, my husband did a lot of cleaning out, apparently. I'm missing all kinds of things, including my pickled ginger. So I don't know if he decided it had been in there too long. I don't know. He's not here for me to ask him. But that is another thing that's really yummy to serve with your sushi. So this is sat for a few minutes now. I'm going to take a nice sharp knife here, and I'm going to actually give it a wipe because it had avocado all over it. And I'm also going to run it through the honing tool. Last week I was talking about the importance of honing our knives on a regular basis, and I haven't honed it since I've been back, which means it probably hasn't been done in a while. This is so easy to do, and it makes such a difference on how your knife works. So just 3 or 4 times in that honing tool. I like to give it another wipe. And then we are going to slice our sushi. And there it is. So I have to wonder. They usually use, it's cutting through with I wondered if maybe a serrated knife, but I feel like that would actually tear the nori paper. And look at there is homemade sushi just like that. Now I have to see how it tastes, right? So I'm going to just give a little dab of, I'm going to put it in this little bowl here, a little dab of the coconut aminos. And we're just going to put that in there. I do not have chopsticks handy. I do have some. They're just not handy. And I'm not particularly skilled with them, so I just do the old-fashioned way here. Oh my goodness. It's so good.